It's the Orioles on Masson, and we welcome you to some late-night baseball on the East Coast. We're on the West Coast, and the A's are the opponents as the Orioles open up this West Coast trip. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Thornton. Welcome. The Orioles, some real fine play at home. That has been the case all year. It has also been the case most of the season that when the Orioles head away from Camden Yards, there are problems, both offensively and pitching. The Orioles hope that does not happen. This is a big West Coast and only West Coast trip for the Orioles this year. So how tough is it to win going east to west? We thought we'd take a look at some records, go back a few years with the Orioles. Here are the numbers that they have put up on West Coast trips since 2010. They went 6-10, average runs 3 per game, not enough to win, ERA a run higher. 2011 went 2-10, not a good average, 3.5 runs a game, but almost 5 surrendered. Now, obviously, as the ball club started getting better, so did their record on the West Coast. 2012 up to 8-8, even though the offense wasn't very good. 2013, 11-5 in their excellent year. Real solid numbers. 2014, 6-4. Now, those are West Coast opponents, Jim, because we always talk about how tough it is to come out west to play.
Well, it is. I mean, it's a different time zone, and you come out here. I mean, the weather's unbelievable. No humidity. You want to stay here. I mean, but you can't do that. I'm not going to start humming a September song. We're down to a precious few.
Yeah.
But you're under 60 games. You're 21-31. You're 10 games under 500. Why is that happening? You don't score a lot of runs. You pitch well. Best defense in baseball. This is not a team that really can, we were talking in the pregame. Jim Hunter said, well, maybe they should manufacture some runs here. Well, the Orioles don't manufacture runs.
Yeah.
They manufacture runs by hitting the ball over the fence. Now, what does Oakland do so well? They're not a very good defensive ball club. They pitch as well as anybody. Their starters are great. They're not a winning team. They're better on the road than here. So, get some runs if you're the Orioles. Don't really have changed anything. You got Tyler Wilson pitching today. I really like this kid. He's a college kid. He maintains his poise. He's not overpowering, but he throws a lot of strikes. He's probably going to give you a chance to win. Take advantage of it.
And the important thing is probably to get up on this ball club and for Tyler Wilson to have a good start in the game.
Well, it is. And, it's funny. Ubaldo Jimenez said, I yesterday 3 runs in the first inning. You had a young pitcher, Daniel Norris, pitching for the Tigers. It's not going to be the case. Chavez, a pretty heady veteran. But the bottom line is you want to keep him in the ball game. Jimenez couldn't do it. Gonzalez couldn't do it earlier in the week. The same thing with Wei-Yin Chen. The Orioles came back. But again, here, you're not probably going to score a lot of runs. But if you get a good starting pitching, let your defense, this is a big ballpark, let them run the balls down. We're going to see Paredes in right field for the first time. So, again, you just got to start playing better. And when you do that, you got a chance to have a good West Coast trip.
All right, let's see what happens here in Game 1 on this West Coast trip. As Johnny Carson used to say, if you're viewing this game between your feet, it's okay. We accept that in West Coast ball games. To you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Gorgeous day here in the Bay Area and a beautiful evening. Take a look at what we've got on our BGE home game time temperature, 72 degrees. And how about the humidity, 56%, very little breeze. We'll see if that picks up tonight. BGE Home, Baltimore's home team for heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical. Why would you call anyone else? Take a look at the starting lineup for the Orioles, brought to you by Southwest. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Manny Machado, Power Jones, Davis, Wieters, and Hardy. Paredes gets the first start in right. Scope and Caleb Joseph. For Para, 19 multi-hit games on the road this year, 7th best in the majors.
And the Orioles will face Jesse Chavez, a Southern California boy out of Fontana. This will be the first start he's ever had against the Orioles. So again, not a lot of at-bats of all the hitters. None of them have hit any home runs. He's a fastball, a little bit of slider, got a great cutter. You can see the record. They don't score a lot of runs, low ERA. 8-8 last year as a starter, or at least part-time starter for him. And again, he's going to throw a lot of strike. He's going to make you work, and doesn't throw a lot of home runs either. So if you look at what he's been able to do, you would imagine there'll be a lot of balls put in play tonight. See if they can play a little better defensively than they played.
They've committed more errors than any other team in the majors, and those have resulted in a ton of unearned runs, which has really hurt this ball club, especially since they do not do well, and probably that's the reason why, in 1- and 2-run ball games. So the Orioles want to keep the pressure on them, try and take advantage of opportunities that are given to them. We'll see. This has been a very tough season and a disappointing one for this Oakland ball club. They were expected to be much better, but they have done nothing in the offense department, but they can shut you down and play tight games. Here is Manny Machado, and he will take the pitch for strike. We are underway. Las Diaz has the plate tonight. It'll be Alfonso Marquez, who's going to be at first base. Dan Bellino's got second. And Chris Siegel. That'll be put in the air to the warning track at the wall and hauled in. That's 387 feet away, 1 foot shy of what he needed.
Well, Chris is back. Coco comes back. Neck, elbow problems. The elbow surgery early in the year. You just saw Billy Burns run it down in center field. Sam folded right. Lowry with 19 errors. Semien a bunch of errors in the 20s. Sogard, because he's a little different. He's a very good defensive player. Ike Davis, and then Vogt doing the catching behind the plate. So there's a ball that, and you wonder, I mean, that's a home run in Camden Yards.
Oh, yeah. And, ball was carrying here in batting practice, but as the sun goes down and the air gets heavier, question whether that will stay that way. You've seen fog roll into this ballpark before. You get that dampness coming off the Pacific and off San Francisco Bay. Here is Power in the number 2 spot, playing in left field. He'll go in the air to center field. Deep Burns. He'll come in and have no play. He was playing it pretty deep out there. So Power is going to pick himself up his second hit since joining the Orioles, and the Orioles get a base hit with one away.
In the third position, center fielder, number 10.
And we'll see whether the Orioles can get to this 31-year-old right-hander early. The word on Chavez is, and it's been true in his career, despite a great work ethic, he wears out. And when you get to the second half of the year, he runs out of juice. And it has happened again this season. He had a great first half, and then once you start the second half of the year, it just kind of falls apart on him.
Yeah, that's why they primarily, at least early last year, until they had some pitching problem, a lot of starters. Tommy John surgery last year, he was out of the bullpen. In fact, all the innings were 6 2/3 out of the bullpen against the Orioles.
Chavez has a 2-4 record, 5.75 ERA in his last 7. In the first 7, he had a 2.49 earned run average. That ball will be fouled away. Adam Jones, and take a look at our Maryland Live Casino inside the numbers.
So, yeah, as you mentioned, Gary, big ballpark here. The ball only on day games, maybe Wednesday when they play an afternoon game, usually doesn't carry, and Chris Davis hits him out of anywhere.
Adam Jones, good numbers on the road. A lot of friends, family, always on this California trip for Adam. Great pitch. Chavez came in on that one. That just ate him up.
Well, down and in, I mean, he's going to cut it. I mean, if you're a lefty, he's going to cut it in on your fist. He runs it down and in. A little two-seamer, 89 to 91 miles per hour. And then, of course, the slider and the cutter away. So in and out. Talking to one of the advanced scouts, he said what happens is when he gets tired, these balls in the middle of the plate. And if you're not throwing 95, you don't want to be doing that. That's when you start getting hit harder. And then to couple that, this is not a great offensive team. They do not score a lot of runs when he pitches.
Over at first base, pretty good lead taken by Parra. They have stolen bases against Jesse Chavez, 5 out of 10 stealing bases. Votes thrown out 33. That one's going to be picked up in left. Parra makes the turn. He will stay. Adam Jones gives the Orioles a chance here in the first inning as the O's put runners on at first and second base.
Yeah, you get the flare off the bat of Parra, and then you get a great two-strike approach by Adam Jones. It's like a little breaking ball, goes down and gets it. And now you get the big guy coming up.
So now Chris Davis will come to the plate. Chris was really pounding the ball in batting practice today and driving it well out of the yard. And for Chris, since the All-Star break, he has been mashing.
Really hard. Doesn't matter if you're righty or lefty. Yesterday, the only run the Orioles got off of Daniel Norris. A deep clout to right center field.
He will take the pitch for a strike. They will shift in the infield, but with base runners on, Sogard, second baseman, will not go back into the right field grass. So he's just on the cut of the grass on the outfield side. 2 on and 1 out. Chris lifts it in the air, right center field. That's back in the Sun Alley. Way back, and goodbye home run. 400 plus on that one, and Davis continued what he was doing in batting practice as he delivers yet another homer, and the Orioles do jump out to a 3-0 lead.
So Machado almost hits one, and that gets caught right at the warning track in deep left center field. Flare, line drive, and then bomb. I mean, in between the power alleys, between the 362s here at the Coliseum, very difficult to hit home runs unless you're big and strong. 9th home run on the road for Chris Davis. 18 at Camden Yards.
Chris gets number 27. He's now got 75 RBIs on the season.
Take a look. Talk about, see, they're trying to go up and in. He gets it up and out over the plate. And again, when you're not a hard thrower, able to catch up with it. I mean, just look at the vote where the glove is. And again, it never gets there. It gets up and in, and he just didn't hit his spot.
6th in home runs. That'll be grounded to first base. The underhand pitch almost a little high by Ike Davis, but they will get the out. And Matt Wieters is retired. 2 away, but 3 runs in for the Orioles. Maryland Lottery contestant of the game, George Lipsky from Northeast, has won $500 for being selected. You get $500 for every Orioles home run hit tonight, and you've already got one. Play baseball box scratch-offs went up to $50,000 or enter non-winning tickets for a chance to be the contestant of the game. Go to mdlottery.com/baseball.
Well, if George is not up, I'm sure one of his friends is going to call him. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. He ties Kendry Morales for 3rd now in RBIs. Chris does. Or actually moves ahead of him now by a couple. So he is right up there with Donaldson, depending on what happened today. Donaldson started the day with 75 RBIs. Chris has got 75. Pitch is taken for a strike by Hardy. Boy, the big bat of Chris Davis really having an impact on the Orioles here in the second half. Pitch will be taken outside. To Chavez, that's the 10th home run that he has surrendered this season. 8 of those have been hit by left-handers. Hardy at 2 for 6 off this right-hander. He's got a base hit. Chavez isn't fooling anybody. So at 2 down, the Orioles pick up their 4th hit of the inning. The other thing to say early on, in light of what's happening to Chavez, this bullpen of the A's is not good.
No, they're over 4 runs a game, and you know, again, Chavez, he just cannot pitch in the middle of the plate. That's what this meeting's about. And of course, you know, if you look at his numbers, Gary, 7 runs in his last 2 starts over 8 innings, and so now you can make it 10 runs in what actually in 9 innings. So it's hard. You can't throw any harder. It doesn't usually work anyway because his velocity maxes out around 91. He's probably a guy where, you know, again, you can match him up as a reliever, but again, you're looking for starters, and he's out there.
And the Orioles taking advantage of it at the moment. Paredes up, playing in right field, as we said. This is his first start for the Orioles in right field, as Buck Showalter continues to shuffle this lineup, trying to find what is going to give the Orioles the best offensive look, not just for this West Coast trip, but for the remainder of the year.
But don't you think the fact that they're a little bit, about 3.8 runs a game on the road, that he's looking for offense while they're going to be out here?
Yep.
Yeah, so I kind of liked it. He said, did you ever know that Steve Pearce could play second? Did you put him at second? How about Wieters at first? Did you know Wieters? So Jimmy Paredes is...
He's played out there before with Kansas City in a swing and a foul ball at the plate, and Paredes a 1-ball 2-strike count.
And the book on him, and I'm sure that the advanced scouts for Oakland, and of course Chavez trying to get out of this inning, is get ahead. You usually can do that without having to throw him strikes and then get him to chase. See if he's able to do that.
Paredes will foul that one away. A lot of foul territory here, which also helps the pitchers. Recording outs in foul territory. Plenty of room to get them. Hardy goes back over to first base. You see, this is an enormous ballpark, and even looks bigger when you're down on the field than what it really is distance-wise. It's it's 400 to dead center. There are bigger parks. That one is taken for a strike. So Chavez gets the K, but the Orioles gets the runs, 3 of them on 4 hits. No errors, 1 left on base. Davis delivers the long ball, and a long one it was, his 8th in this part. Does apparently 313 average and 8 home runs here. Now let's take a look at the starting lineup for the A's. Burns, Crisp is back to play. Vogt will doing the catching. Butler, Davis, and Laurie. Fold. Simeon will be at shortstop, and Eric Sogard. You see Billy Burns, speedster, a rookie.
And Tyler Wilson will get a chance to pitch for the Orioles because of the sprained ankle of Chris Tillman. So again, it'll be a second major league start, 6th appearance, and he has acquitted himself well. Well, there are the numbers, under 300 for both teams.
Ground ball up the middle, Hardy over. He's got it on the big hop. Nice throw to get him. And Burns, the speedster, is retired. 1 down. Want to welcome those who are watching the Nationals games. Our bonus coverage on MASN HD. The Diamondbacks beating the Nationals 6-4, and the Mets on top 12-1. That's a final now, so what a race is going on with the Nationals involved in it. We'll take a look at some of the other ball games that were played today and earlier tonight as we go along. Here is Coco Crisp, a nice hand from the fans as he gets back on the team, added to the roster today. A number of changes made by this Oakland ball club today, readjusting the roster. And the pitch will be taken outside. He's only played 13 games this year. Bob Melvin said before the ball game, generally when he's been out before for shorter periods of time on injuries, he comes back and really gets it going in a hurry. So they're hoping that'll happen here. He does. Coco Crisp is on with a single. It's the first time he's been in a ball game at the major league level since May 19th.
Take a look at the Oriole defense here in Oakland. Parra, Jones, and Paredes first started right. Machado, Hardy, the Gold Glovers, Scope, Davis, and then Caleb Joseph behind the plate.
So you got the #1 defense of the Orioles and the last place defense of the Oakland A's in this series.
Well, for Tyler Wilson, he's not overpowering. You know, he threw a little bit harder in spring training, and pitched very well for the Orioles. You know, getting a lot of innings, 5-5 at Norfolk, coming off a 7-inning, 5-hit scoreless game against Pawtucket. But
Stephen Vogt at the plate, and he will take the pitch for a strike on the inside corner. Shift on against him. Struggling mightily, and they really need his bat. He is 0 for his last 26. And they rely on him, as you can tell, because despite that number, he's still 3rd in the order for Bob Melvin's A's.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of choices. And,
no.
You know, I mean, not only that, I mean, 17 for 104. He is their catcher. Josh Fegley has done a nice job, but he plays usually against left-handed pitching. Probably see him on Wednesday against Wei-Yin Chen.
They platoon quite a bit.
Yeah.
Pitch on the way to him. Vogt will foul it back. Or Tyler Wilson, expected to pitch today and go back down tomorrow. So you take advantage of opportunities, and this is one of them.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. You can see, obviously, when he gets people on, runner in scoring position number, not a lot of innings. As we mentioned, 1 start, 6 appearances. You know, Chris normally can steal bases, 298 lifetime.
Neck injuries have kept him out. Pitch will be taken away.
You know, I asked him about that. He was a former, a boxer coming up as a kid, and he said it really started last year, the necks, and then the elbow. I thought he could get through spring training on his throwing arm, his right arm. So he had to have the surgery on his elbow. So it's been a tough year physically for him.
Decent lead, not big, not going. And Vogt will take the pitch, and it's going to miss down low. For Tyler Wilson at the minor league level, his career is 37-29, a very respectable 3.63 ERA that covers 5 minor league seasons that he has pitched in, and made his debut against Seattle on May 20. First major league start against the White Sox on May 28. Vogt will foul that one back. In that start, 2 runs, 5 hits, 6 innings, and the loss to the White Sox.
So this is not, as we mentioned, they have a lot of hitters in this lineup. I mean, one of their hottest hitters, a little bit of back problems last night. Dave Wallace looking on, Oriole pitching coach. That's Josh Reddick. So he's out of the lineup at least tonight. But you still have to make your pitches. Yeah, you still got to make your pitches.
Vogt with the runner at first base, shift on against him, and that ball is going to be knocked down. Good play, and to the bag goes Davis. That one probably would have scooted through. It was hit hard enough. Chris came on and got the out at first, with Chris going to second base.
Yeah, he's been playing so many games in right field that you forget how good a first baseman he was. And you know, right here, a little breaking ball hit sharply. I don't know, even though Scope's over because of the shift, I'm not sure he would have been able to flag that ball down. And again, with Chris' speed, that probably would have created a first and third because how big this park is.
So Billy Butler, who is their DH, stands in. What a disappointing season it has been for Butler. They just have not been able to get these guys in the middle doing much offensively. And that's why they are 8th in average, 11th in runs. They are 12th in home runs. And Butler with the 9 home runs, 47 RBIs. They'd hoped for bigger numbers and bringing Billy Butler over to fill the DH role. Davis waiting on deck. Off second base, Coco Crisp. Orioles up 3-0 in the ball game, and that one is in there for a strike. Sweeping pitch right there from Tyler Wilson.
Yeah, but you know, Billy Butler, the Orioles certainly know him. I mean, he's a line drive hitter. He's had a couple of years where he hit home runs. Last year with Kansas City, not the case, but he can slice them. And
that ball will go towards short. Hardy's got it on the outfield grass in the dirt. Oh, what a scoop! Chris Davis, what an inning for the Orioles first baseman. He makes one play himself to get an out and prevent the first and third, and then on Hardy's throw, he makes a tremendous short pick, keeps the foot on the bag, and the Orioles defense right away comes into play in this game. Up where it's been tough, road games.
Well, you're right, and you know, and we also talked about the fact that play better, hit better. The pitching's been good. You know, the runs per game is down because less home runs, and that's normal because Camden Yards easy to hit home runs unless Chris Davis hits it.
That ball's a broken bat towards the alley, Bermuda Triangle. Oh, almost Sogard, but not quite. Sogard had the only chance on that, and Jonathan Scope going after the first pitch will lead the inning off with a single.
And we've already seen Parr loop one in because it's such a big outfield, and then as we told you, Sogard, Eric's got 50 games without an error. I mean, great effort off the glove. I mean, backpedaling and sprinting as fast as he can, and Jonathan Scope says thank you very much. I know you're a second baseman, but I appreciate the effort, but not the result, even more so.
Right off the thumb side of the glove. So the Orioles get the leadoff man on. Chavez has retired 69% of leadoff batters this year. And here is Caleb Joseph. Joseph, there you go. Yeah. We talk about it all the time. He had the best line of the year so far. Why are you hitting better? Baby's got to eat. Yeah. Since the baby's been born, you see it's gone from 207 to 245. Slugging is up. OPS is up. Baby's eating. Good.
Walker's happy.
Baby's happy. Caleb's happy. Mama's happy. That ball up the middle, right into the double play. Sogard was moving over with a runner going, and that's two.
Yeah, Jesse Chavez was able to get him to swing at a pitcher's pitch early in the count. That's what you want to do, unless you're Caleb Joseph. I mean, this little changeup, little slider. I mean, if you want the average to keep going up, which it's been, and you can see Eric Sogard, pretty good defender. An easy double play.
Tailor-made. It works well when the ball's hit behind the guy going to cover, but when it's hit right to him, that's the chance you take on the run and hit and run. Two down. Here's Manny Machado. Manny will take the pitch outside for a ball. Manny flied out center field. Started the day 6 in runs, 10th in hits in the American League. He will foul that one down the line towards the bullpen area. And a souvenir. Nice catch by a fan.
Yeah, Scott Coolbaugh coming on as a hitting instructor was talking about it, and then he started in spring training about having, especially for the young guys, and obviously you figure the veterans already know this, quality at bats. You saw it when Darryl Strawberry came up early on. It'd be 1 out of 5. Next year it was 2 out of 5. Third year is 3 out of 5. He has 39 home runs. That's what young players want to do.
Good pitch, Chavez on the inside corner.
You know, the pitcher wants to be as efficient as he can, and how does he do that? Gets you to swing at his pitch early in the count.
And that one's going to be away. Manny also among the leaders. He is 7th in extra base hits. He's got 44. Ryan Dozier with Minnesota leads with 10 starting the day's play. 10 ahead of him, 54.
And
that
Manny,
one's going to be in the dirt.
Yeah, and Manny's been so consistent over the year. I mean, the best month, the June month, that was 385, but he's hitting 291. There is Scott Coolbaugh looking on. 291 with 10 of his home runs on the road.
And Machado will go toward short. This is going to be a tough play. And on the money to get him. Sending a nice play on the backhand. He's committed a lot of errors and has been working on his position. That work shows up right there. Fireworks night. It'll be the A's in town after the ball game. The great fireworks display presented by Baltimore Area Credit Unions. The tickets on sale now at Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD. Davis will lead it off. Oriole fans on hand. Saw one fan down behind the dugout during batting practice with a sign. This is the first of 9. Going to go with the entire road trip.
Yeah, we had a couple last year, young couple that followed us the whole West Coast trip.
It's a great trip, obviously. Going to Anaheim, up to Seattle, here. Pretty good places to visit.
Well, you get to see 2 different climes of California. Cooler, and you get to Orange County. And
warmer days, but cool nights. Ike Davis. He'll take the pitch outside for a ball. He is one of the many struggling right now at the plate. 1 for 17 over the last half dozen games. Their lineup is just loaded with players who have numbers like that at the moment. As Jim and I said, that means one of 2 things. They're going to continue to be like that, or they're all due. Because it's all of them.
Yeah, I don't think anybody ever. There's Bob Melvin, former Oriole catcher, who really has done a terrific job here in Oakland. Wild card last year, a couple of division titles the year before. In fact, you go back maybe about a year ago. Team that had the best record in baseball, biggest run differential, the Oakland A's.
How quickly. Davis, 3-1 delivery to him. He'll take it. Fastball. Wilson challenged him, came right in.
And he's not going to throw. We saw 1 ball at 92 that he overthrew, but it's going to be 90-91. We saw more than that in spring training, but then again, you come off winner of really, he's one of these guys that does the heavy ball exercise like Zach Britton, the Orioles closer, does.
Davis will take it. He's going to be on with a walk and a leadoff walk here in the 2nd inning. And time for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use O's Couch Cam. You just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Leadoff man on. Brett Laurie coming up. Laurie at third base. O's familiar with him, of course, in the days with Toronto. He's a .258 career hitter against the Orioles with 10 lifetime home runs against the O's.
Yeah, when he came up, I thought this kid was number 1, was going to stay healthy, which he hasn't.
Laurie goes after it. Taylor made. Jonathan Scope. Hardy. Too fast. Beat it out.
Yeah, he could fly, and that was one of the other reasons. I remember when John Farrell, who's now managing the Red Sox, was managing Toronto. They got Brett Lawrie from Milwaukee. They said he makes a ground ball to third base. Exciting because of his speed. They couldn't stay healthy. And, of course, one of the great trades in baseball was not for the Oakland A's, but Lawrie for Donaldson.
Good hustle down the line.
Yeah, he can run. And the ball away, so he's good jump out of the box.
Sam Fole coming up. Another player the Orioles are familiar with his days with Tampa Bay. He only has a 148 lifetime average against the Orioles. See his 214 this year. Home runs, 16 RBIs. He too is speed. Manny Machado, he'll be even with a bag or a step in front of that with the 1 out. And the pitch will be inside for a ball. The A's today reinstating Coco Crisp, as we said, coming off the DL. They recalled Arnold Leone from Nashville. They optioned Jake Smolinski and pitcher Dan Otero to Nashville. Otero, one they were counting on to have a big year, one of many where it has not happened. And they claimed Danny Valencia, former Oriole, off waivers from Toronto. They reinstated the dual pitching hands of Pat Venditti from the DL and optioned him to Nashville. All of those moves made today. Runner on at first base, 3-0 Oriole lead. And that ball is going to be popped up towards center. Jones, who plays shallow, gets there easily. Fold is retired. 2 down. And there's the difference. Positioning in center, where you take your chances either way. Adam, all year long, has chosen wherever he plays to be in.
Yeah, he has the ability, Gary, as you know, because you pretty much see him every day, to go back as well as anybody. And the guys that can't do that, they play deeper. Makes sense. Keep the ball in front of you.
And he has done it well. He saved a number of hits this season on balls blooped into center field.
I think you have to really, and if you saw Wayne Kirby, the first base coach who's in charge of the outfielders, you really have to, you have to be able to sometimes even your depth related to the count. You get 2 outs, you don't want, in this park you don't want a ball, and so if he would get behind him, you might move back a step or 2 to take the double away. Simeon with good power hit his 9th home run the other night. The last thing you want is one that maybe you could cut off.
Runner goes. Here's the throw by Joseph. A one hopper. Got him. Oh, and another outstanding tag. That may end up being challenged. Well, what a tag put on. A lot of mustard on the throw. It skipped, but right into that glove of Jonathan Scope. And that will retire Lowry trying to pick up a stolen base. So he faces only 3 in the inning. And again, Hardy taught him how to take that ball with the glove on top.
Well, there you go. This is why you get them. You're trying to increase the Orioles' chance of winning. So far, he can hit anywhere. And as Dave Egan, our advanced scout out here on the West Coast, said, 9th best OPS in the National League, and you get him. And he can play defense, and he can run.
It's got to help.
Yeah, you'd think.
Jesse Chavez will deliver up high. Parra, base hit, run scored. Parra, Jones, singled. Davis delivered the home run, first inning. That one will be fouled off. So Chavez just trying to regroup now and hold it where it is. For the A's to overcome a 3-run deficit is not an easy task this year, and especially of late, where they just have not been able to put runs up on the board. They are batting .224 and scored 98 runs in 31 games,
which is a little over 3 runs a game. Yeah, they did get 5 on Saturday. They've won their last 2. 5-1, 2-1 walk off yesterday. What an extra innings.
They've had 1 run or fewer for the last 6. They went, I think it was something like 56 at bats, 1 hit. They got 2 in 1 game against Cleveland, and then the next game got only 1.
Well, that was Carrasco and Danny Salazar.
That'll be outside to Parra. It was evinced a good eye. He doesn't bite after a lot of pitches. You got to come in, get something he can get the bat on. 3rd inning, Orioles leading it by a score of 3-0. Parra will take the pitch inside, and the Orioles are going to pick up their first walk, and it's one of those leadoff walks. A reminder that on Saturday, August 15, the first 20,000 fans 15 and over get the J.J. Hardy orange replica jersey. Birds play these A's, 7:05. You can add to your Birdland wardrobe. And this detailed replica of the O's popular alternate jerseys, a good one. Get yours by getting tickets to go. Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD. And the Orioles leadoff man on 2 innings in a row now. Here's Adam Jones, picked up the base hit, scored a run. Chavez pitch is going to be outside for a ball. Orioles would love to kick it off on this West Coast trip, getting one here right away against Chavez, who has no record against the Orioles in the 4 relief appearances. Jones will take that pitch. It's going to be down low.
Well, we saw it yesterday when the Tigers got 3 runs in the first for Daniel Norris. Now, that was his first start as a Tiger. Had pitched in the big leagues with Toronto as a 22-year-older in the month of April, and it makes a difference. Then they added. I think they'd like to do that for Tyler Wilson tonight.
Pitch on the way. That is launched in that gap, right center field. 388 back to the wall, right off the top of it, and it rebounds away. Parra is already going to come in to score. Adam Jones has got a double and an RBI, and the Orioles have a 4-0 lead.
Yeah, you work the count in your favor, and then the big boys come up. I mean, Adam Jones misses a home run by about an inch or 2. I mean, just belts it to right center. It's out over the outside corner. He's looking away. Great extension. Billy Burns runs out of, and then just off the top of the wall in the carom. So Gerardo Parra easily scoring to make it 4-0.
Jones gets his 51st RBI of the season. That'll be the 19th double he's picked up this year. And that ball's going to be launched the other way down the line. And it's 330 down that left field line.
Well, I remember a playoff game where I ended up winning, but Reggie took me that way twice. Fly balls. That ball was a home run, and that ball had plenty of carry. And the ball doesn't carry to the alleys here. Maybe it does tonight when Davis and Jones hit it. But down the lines, you have a chance.
Wind blowing from left to right, but not very hard. Shift on against Davis. Davis goes into that shift. It'll be caught. Sogard. No play at second base. First out of the inning. Our Express Stat by Express Care, a LifeBridge health partner. For locations, visit whywaitintheer.com.
So you talked about this, highest percentage of cut fastballs. Pineda all over the place. Garrett Richards, who throws 96. That's an incredibly high number for a power pitcher like Richards. Maybe that's why maybe not pitching as well this year as last year. And then, of course, you have some of the other guys. Kluber, the Cy Young Award winner. Madison Bumgarner across the bay here, and last year's hero in the World Series.
Here is Matt Wieters. Matt grounded out his first time up. That's got a 6-game hit streak. Hot bat. So you keep it in the lineup. And he's in there as a DH in this ball game. Runner on at second base for the Orioles. Wieters will take it. That is in a hot streak. Generally, Buck Showalter does not like to use him as a DH. His career numbers there not particularly good. 207 when he hits as a DH. 4 home runs, 9 RBIs. This is just the 40th game where Matt has been a designated hitter. But when you're as hot as he is right now, you get him in there.
At least, well, not a lot of at bats, but on the road, 220s, home 350 this year.
Fouled off.
Yeah, and that's a pretty good pitch by Chavez, and he was able to keep the bat alive. Little change up, down and away. Looks like you're going to have a couple of more shots here to get your 5th run. During
the hit streak for Matt, including his at bat tonight, he's 10 for 21. 3 doubles, a home run, and a 6-game streak. Pretty good lead off second base, Adam Jones, and that's going to miss the outside corner. A good eye by Matt. Chavez having to throw some pitches, going to be 50 here, and he has only recorded 7 outs. Bullpen will get used in this game, barring a real quick couple of innings. Wieters keeps it alive with the foul ball, 84-mile-an-hour delivery, and the count is at 2-2. For Matt, 4 career home runs against this Oakland team, and 3 of the 4 have been hit in this ballpark. As Jim said, you put one down the line here. Matt can do that. It'll go out. And had a chance on that one.
I remember when Josh Willingham played here, and he was big, strong, could hit home runs. And they're down hitting here, and he looked at the 362 right, left center power alleys. He said, you got to be a man to hit it in between there, because the ball just doesn't carry. And you could feel it getting cooler. So maybe the Orioles have hit those fly balls at the right time.
Chavez delivery, and that will be taken down low.
And then what happens?
Been very patient in these at bats.
Well, excuse me. And what happens, Gary, is that now you're down by 4. You get a feeling you almost got to be perfect. So he's trying to nibble his way around the corner, somehow get Matt Wieters out. Obviously, Matt's trying to get a base hit.
He drives that one to center field. Burns going back with room. Runner will tag. He's got it so far away that Adam Jones will easily move over to third base, and there are 2 down. Get in on all the baseball action with Masson. Text the word Orioles to 29292 for team alerts and chances to win exclusive prizes all season long, including meet and greet with your favorite players. Again, that's Orioles 29292 for O's alerts you can't miss. So now a runner at third base for the Orioles, and J.J. Hardy. Hardy had a base hit his first time up, now 3 for 7 lifetime off Chavez. And the fastball is going to be down low for a ball.
Yeah, it took a little slider and lined it into left. So for Jesse Chavez, he's okay. Where can I go now?
RBI double here in the inning. Picked up by Jones. That'll go to second. Sogard makes the play over to Wade Davis, and that will do it for the inning. But the Orioles add another. They get a run. That leadoff walk by Chavez costly, as Jones, the next batter up, drove it off that center field wall. 4-0 Orioles. Lesson is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Gary Thorne, Jim Palmer, sunset time here on the West Coast as the home of the Oakland A's, hosting some Oriole fans for this game, and they'll be here throughout the road trip here in the West. Marcus Semien coming to the plate. Chavez against Tyler Wilson, who's walked one, struck out none. And the pitch taken inside. The 24-year-old out of El Cerrito, California, Semien is. He was originally with the Chicago White Sox and came over to the A's in the Samaja, part of the Samaja deal. It's a multi-player deal. Pitch just misses off the inside corner.
Yeah, if you look at the errors, made 14 errors in like 64 games last year, and then again this year still struggling. But Ron Washington comes on, try to settle him down.
That'll go into the shift. That's Jonathan Scope. Got him. Good ground ball out. On Sunday, August 16, the O's take on these A's, and the first 7,500 fans 14 and under get the Chris Tillman growth poster presented by Top. See how your child measures up to the 6'5" O's hurler with this fun life-size poster. Perfect for young O's fans. For tickets, Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD. Chris Tillman, of course, was supposed to have started this ball game, but with the ankle twisted, they have brought up Tyler Wilson to make this emergency start. They hope no DL is required for Tillman. Should be back here on this West Coast trip later in the week for a start. But for Wilson, it's an opportunity. Sogard batting ninth.
Is it ever?
Pitch on the way. TJ McFarland has already is already with the team, not dressed. He will be activated apparently after the game when Tyler's sent back down. Ground ball to the middle. Hardy over. Gets in front of it. And makes the play. And they're at 208. Here's our PNC minor league report.
I'll take a look. Oliver Drake. Look at those numbers. 25 game scoreless streak. You can see this season he had the great split-fingered fastball. The Orioles know that he can do that. A lot of strikeouts. Not a lot of innings.
Another save today.
Yeah.
17 out of 17, Oliver Drake.
Yeah, Massachusetts kid. Nice man. Nice young man. And,
from Massachusetts?
Yeah. Well, there you go.
There you go.
New England. Your country.
Here's Billy Burns in that leadoff spot, even with Coco Crisp coming back. Melvin said, I can't take Burns out of the leadoff spot with the numbers that he's putting up there, and I'm excited to see what the two of them can do here at the top of the order.
Yeah, he was talking about, Crisp, a very good fastball hitter, so if Burns gets on, because he can steal bases, you'll most likely see more fastballs for Coco. He's leading the rookies at stolen bases with 21, multi-hit games with 29, hitting 350 here, total bases 125 for all the rookie players. And as Bob Melvin said, with Crisp out and pretty much all year, he has saved us.
Yep. Saved them to last place.
Well,
the pitch will be taken up high, as was once told to our friend Ralph Kinder by Branch Rickey. You want a $5,000 raise? I finished last year last. I'm not giving you a raise because I can do that again this year without you.
But Mr. Rickey, I led the National League in home runs 7 years. I don't care, kid. And we're losing with you. We can lose without you.
Exactly.
And as Ralph would say, and actually he was smiling when he told me. I know he used to work with him with the Mets, but we were in a car going to Ted Williams Museum up in Hernando, Florida. He actually had a smile on his face because
you signed the contract, sent it back.
Well, you didn't have a choice. No arbitration back there.
That's one of the great stories. And the pitch will be grounded to second base. Jonathan Scope is there. And we'll record the out. Good inning. A 1-2-3 inning. We've completed 3 here in Oakland, and the Orioles have a 4-0 lead. No, the Orioles wanted a good start in this ball game, and that's exactly what they've gotten. Wilson a walk, no strikeouts, giving up only the one hit, a Coco Crisp single, and he's pitched only one over the minimum through the first 3 innings.
Yeah, the Orioles are obviously pleased with his performance, but I think they also had an idea of what they were going to get.
Yep.
Young pitcher.
Down to first, Paredes. Mike Davis makes the flip almost a little low.
As you mentioned, out of Virginia Tech, high draft choice, throws a lot of strikes, not going to overreact to this situation. Comes out here. I mean, joined the club yesterday. Takes a while to get out here, but the good news is it's non-stop.
If it's a major league game,
yeah,
you'll get here.
Of course.
Chavez records the out. That'll bring Jonathan Scope up.
Well, yeah, I suppose they could have told him Tuesday. Get good news and bad news. The good news is you're going to pitch on Monday night in Oakland, and here's your bus ticket. That's the bad news.
It's not an easy business.
Or as my stepson Spencer would say, get on the train and have a good time.
Spencer understands those things.
Yes, anyway.
Train's the way to travel. Ball will be foul back.
And I always get the younger players saying, so what was it like to go from city to city on those all-night trains? And I go, I'm old, but I'm not that old.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, you used to have the off days on Mondays, and you travel. And I mean,
the Babe had his own car.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, he was the Babe.
Exactly right. And apparently those were delightful trips if you were fortunate enough to make it to the Babe's Pullman car. And the pitch will be taken outside. Jonathan Scope and then Caleb Joseph due up.
Well, who was the president when they asked Babe, Babe, you're making more money than the president? He goes, I have a better year. Come on.
Harding, was that Harding? That is foul back. That's right. That's what he said.
That Babe was something. Tough out, though. Now, I pitched against him.
And despite all that, he still hit home runs. Or maybe because of that. Pitch on the way will be popped up again in foul territory over towards the Orioles dugout, and it will end up a few rows back. So Jonathan Scope hanging in there and fouling off a couple of good pitches by Jesse Chavez.
Yeah, we told you about the A's best starting numbers in the American League. 289 at home. Well, all this foul territory, almost a run higher, running what 0.8 of a run, 3.97 on the road. So they really pitched their rear ends off here most of the time.
Ripped.
Yeah.
Boy, did he barrel that one up. Jonathan Scope is 2 for 2 in the ball game. That's as clean a hit as you're ever going to see.
Well, trying to shorten the swing, and again, you don't have a hard thrower. You can't get him to chase. I mean, this is a great vantage point right here. If you're Brett Lowry, I mean, you try to get your feet set, which he does. Couldn't even move. Ball scalded into left.
So the Orioles with one down pick up the base hit, their 7th of the ball game. Chris Davis had the home run in the first inning. RBI double by Jones in the third. Those are the 4 runs for the Orioles. Only 1 hit for the A's. And that'll be outside for a ball. Caleb Joseph ended up hitting into a double play his first time up when they had Jonathan Scope running, and the ball went right to the second baseman Sogard at the bag to turn 2. Nick Davis holding the bag at first. That ball is ripped way back left field. Baby's going to eat tonight. Goodbye, home run. Caleb Joseph delivers a 2 RBI homer, and that will be the first that he has hit against Oakland in his career.
Well, you better. We talked about he swung at a pitcher's pitch. Now he gets a hitter's pitch. Otherwise, he's going to probably do Skype with Walker in the morning. Skype at what, about 5? Going, Dad, didn't get a good pitch to hit. Second time, a little different. Boy, did he hit that ball hard. That is now 3 home runs in, what, 8 days?
Yeah, he is really tagging the baseball. So the Orioles extend their lead to 6-0. Pitch will be taken away.
Well, take a look at this pitch. Ball's just crunched. Outside middle. Doesn't quite get it to Vogt's glove, down and away. And again, the Dave Egan, the Orioles advanced scout, saying that Chavez just not making, at least recently, quality pitches like he did earlier in the year.
And the pitch will be taken down low for a ball, and that's $500 for our Maryland lottery contestant, George Lipsky. A couple of home runs in the game. Dubron, starter turned long man in the bullpen by the A's, is warming up.
Just acquired from the Toronto Blue Jays.
Pitch on the way by Chavez outside. So a 2-homer ball game for the Orioles as they continue to rely on the long ball for the home run as they have all year. It's only the second time this year Chavez has given up more than a homer in a game, and comes right back after the home run with a walk. So Manny Machado picks up the second walk, surrendered. Melvin wants a conference at the mound to give Dubron a chance to get going. So he'll send the entire infield in, and they will chat
with Garrett Young, the pitching coach. You know, Chavez, we talked 5 and 10, doesn't get a lot of runs, has struggled, but this is the most runs he's given up in any game. The next most, and that was all the way back against Texas, at Texas, where the ball flies, he gave up 5 runs. All the other games, 4 runs or less. So it's not like he's getting hammered, but this is not a good offensive team. They don't really help you with the glove very often. And then when you have the bad games, and this is a bad game, the Royals have really done a number on him.
They're really going to have to figure out what to do with him. I talked to some of the Oakland people today who think he should become a closer, that he just does not have the stamina to be a starting pitcher and go through an entire season. Put him in the bullpen, be a long man maybe, start occasionally, emergency starts, or just put him at the other end where he can throw harder, but not for long. For
and
one
then you
inning.
only got to get 3 outs most of the time.
That'll be grounded foul outside of first base. Here is Parra. Parra's already scored twice. He had a base hit, scored in the first inning, walked leading off the third, and came in on the Jones double. That's the other great part of Parra's game. It's a good on base percentage, and then comes around to score runs. Good pitch by Chavez as that one dropped off.
Real good.
And an 0-2 count. So the Orioles have put up these 6 runs on 8 hits here in the opener on this West Coast trip. That's good news for the Orioles. The bat's going. Set up outside part of the plate. That's where the pitch was. And it'll be taken for a ball. Remember, Power among the National League leaders when he came over to the Orioles. With that batting average, 4th, 9th in slugging, 9th in on base percentage. Pitch on the way to him, and he reached for it, goes towards left center. It'll be caught, runner back. Burns hauls it in. Parra's retired.
Well, I think what you see from Gerardo Parra is just quality at bats, and even there, pretty good off-speed pitch, stayed on it, lined it, but Burns ran it down. I can't imagine that's going to change over the last 2 months.
That'll bring Adam Jones to the plate. Adam already a big night, double single, RBI, and he has scored a run. Well, Adams up the average to 288.
Yeah, another guy that doesn't mind hitting on the road at 297.
And the pitch is going to be on the inside corner for a strike. With the 2 hits he's had tonight off Chavez, that's 3 hits and 6 at bats. Lifetime against Chavez. At first base, Manny Machado not going anywhere. Pitch taken, and a 1-ball 1-strike count. Well, the Orioles have rat-a-tat-tatted on Jesse Chavez in the ball game. That one's going to go down the line. That'll be a base hit if fair. It is. It'll take a hop. Foles got to go to second base, over to third with a good read on it. Manny Machado, and the Orioles just keep it coming, and that'll be it for Chavez.
Yeah, it's a bad combination of balls hit softly in an immense ballpark, and then a 3-run home run in the first to Chris Davis, and then the 2-run shot by Caleb Joseph. That's 5 quick runs right there.
Chavez lasts only 3 2/3 innings, surrenders 9 hits so far, charged with 6 runs, and he'll be responsible for the 2 on base. Joseph a home run in the inning.
not go well. The Davis home run, the Joseph home runs. So they do a number on them. The AT&T call to the bullpen. AT&T, proud partner of the Baltimore Orioles. AT&T mobilizing your world. Felix DeBrant comes on, as we mentioned, was with Toronto, started the year down at their Buffalo affiliate, and then actually pitched, I think, 4 games for the Jays. 28 and 24 lifetime as a starter, and that's what he can do, even though they said he is going to be used out of the bullpen, at least here in Oakland.
107 games, 77 as a starter in his career. DeBrant, 27 years old. Orioles hitters have seen him when he was playing for the Red Sox. Machado's at third, Jones at first. And the Orioles a chance to add to their lead as Chris Davis stands in. And Chris will take the pitch up and in. Chris already the big night with a home run in the first inning. Still hitting .298 against left-handers and .224 off righties. Big improvement for him against the southpaws. Shift on in the infield at double play depth, and DeBrant's pitch will miss inside.
Yeah, we've seen DeBrant when he started for the Red Sox throw as hard as 94, and then he would talk to people up there, and some years he'd come to spring training in good shape, other ones not. So again, usually a guy that can be pretty effective.
Davis fights that one off. Chris has seen him before, in fact a lot. 8 for 20 with a home run, a .400 batting average for Chris Davis against DeBrant. With the decision to put DeBrant in the bullpen, it means the staff, now the starting rotation of the A's, has no lefty. They're all right-handers. DeBrant, of course, could be an emergency starter at any time, but that's not the plan. 2 ball, 1 strike count. And Davis will swing through that one.
Yeah, he's a big kid, and he's very deliberate, kind of long arms it, where great extension, and I would imagine if you're left-handed that he hides the ball pretty well. Even though 8 for 20 doesn't mean you're getting fooled a lot, but that's 91, good location, and it's just a tad late on it. Low and away target.
Runners off first and third base. DeBrant's delivered to Davis, and he got him. Pitch was down and away. So DeBrant able to find the out, but the Orioles will pick up another couple of runs. This time they do it. Compliments of their catcher, Caleb Joseph, the long ball here in Oakland, and the Orioles have a 6-0 lead. Mascots. Since we're in California, how about the Modesto Nuts? They are the Colorado affiliate in the California League. They've had a team in that city since 1946, and they recently had the fans vote for a new member of the mascot family. They already had Wally the Walnut and Al the Almond, And the new winner you see front and center is Shelly the Pistachio. As they say in Modesto, go nuts!
It's all right to be a nut. Isn't that like
I love that.
Almond Joy or something thing? It's all right to be a nut.
Shelly the Pistachio.
But you know about water and Al Almond. With all the water it takes, and they don't have any water in California. Al may be history. I'm telling you.
Good for the fans. That's great. The Modesto Nuts.
Well, minor league ball. I mean, great. It is great.
It's great. It's fun.
It's fun.
It's fun. It's pretty good baseball. And that's going to be a base hit. So Coco Chris, coming back, not having played since May, is the only Oakland hitter to reach base with a base hit. He's got 2 singles in this game. On Wednesday, August 19, all fans of that evening 7:05 Mets game are going to get the Manny Machado, Jonathan Scope handshake Orioles t-shirt. Celebrate these young stars, their signature on-field greeting. Fun addition to the Birdland wardrobe. Get your tickets at Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD. That's it. He started to do it right there. Realized he was on the field playing defense.
Yeah, so for Tyler Wilson, again, he's got to stay very much like Chavez. Out of the middle of the plate. Both hits to Coco.
Vote on a broken bat. Hardy, where am I going to go with this? Oh, what a play. That is a tremendous play by J.J. Hardy as he ended up in shallow left field after making that throw.
Yeah, and he doesn't even really hurry. I mean, balance, nice kind of soft throw. We saw Jose Iglesias of the Tigers did this on every throw. So again, just catch it. It's 6-0. You can't get 2. Get A out. And that's what they're able, because you are second time through the order. The A's are going to try to make an adjustment. Whether they'll be able to, we'll have to see.
They get a runner to second base. Chris was the only other runner to get there in the first inning. 0 for 1 with runners in scoring position. And the pitch will be taken inside for a ball. Butler grounded out. He was robbed earlier in the ball game by J.J. Hardy. First inning, ground ball, tough play that Hardy came up with.
Yeah, saw Billy Butler down in the cages. So you didn't want to be an Oriole. You've been talking about being an Oriole when you became a free agent. You love to hit it Camden Yard. Don't you know my number? I said, of course. That's why I thought you'd be an Oriole.
That's hit hard. Hardy again on the outfield cross. Well, apparently this is J.J. Hardy night here in Oakland.
Well, Tyler Wilson, I mean, you could really pretty much take your pick as far as who you want it to be hit to. It's not a bad guy, though. 3 straight gold gloves. He catches it. And again, knows the speed factor. Billy Butler is not a burner.
Now batting first baseman for 17.
So there are 2 down. Runner still at second base, Crisp, and that'll bring up Davis. A's have not done that badly with runners in scoring position on the year. Considering their overall offense, they are 7th in the league in batting average in these situations. Ike Davis drew a walk his first time up, the only one surrendered by Tyler Wilson. Orioles up 6-0. Wilson trying to keep it that way, and that one will be fouled back. The A's talked about their home record, 23-31. It's a situation favors the Orioles with their offense here in this ballpark compared to that of the A's.
Well, the run differential, the Orioles are at 4.4 runs a game, about 3.8 on the road. They're only 4.1. It's not that bad.
Ball put in the air towards center, and that's going to hit the Bermuda Triangle for a base hit. So Ike Davis delivers the single, drives in a run as Coco Chris crosses the plate, and they're on the board at 6-1.
And you got to imagine with Chris back in the lineup, they're going to be a better offensive team than right here. We talked about the Orioles. They hit about 3 balls that found a hole. That one, and Parr, I think, was thinking maybe I have a play, but with 2 outs, I can't imagine there was going to be a play at home. So they get their first run and get on the board.
Davis picking up the RBI and their 3rd hit of the ball game. And that will bring Laurie to the plate. Davis gets his 19th RBI.
He's another guy that was hurt. Had that quad injury, so he missed a lot of time.
Brett Laurie hit into a fielder's choice, his first time up. Wilson's delivery to him. Gonna miss down. Laurie gets a 1-0 count. The A's trying to battle back here. They got plenty of time in the ball game, but it's been so hard for them to come up with the runs. The last thing you want to do here is walk anybody.
Yeah, nice little pitch there, and Brett Lowry's looking for a fastball. Came back with a breaking ball. Certainly, from what I've seen over 6 games he's pitched, that's part of his repertoire. He can pitch a little bit backwards.
On the way, and that will miss down low. So Laurie not chasing pitches on that one. Laurie's hit .203 over his last 18 ball games. Swinger generally goes after first pitches and anything close to the plate. He is extremely aggressive. Delivery to him. That'll be outside, too far to chase on the 90-mile-an-hour delivery.
Yeah, they give us that number if he puts the ball in play. What is 532 on the first pitch? When you have the meetings, he would come right there on the top of the list. First ball, fastball hitter. Be careful. But don't throw ball one. Just make a good pitch. If not, you're going to hit it hard.
And that one will go down the line toward the seats and will be a foul ball. No play on that for Paredes. Chases it down in the corner. That'll bring Davis back over to first base for the A's. We'll be back with you tomorrow night. 2 night games and a day game here in Oakland. Miguel Gonzalez 9-7. Chris Bassett, who is 0-4, are the scheduled starters. 9:30. O's Extra 10 o'clock for the ball game on Masson 2.
Yeah, they will play a little bit behind Mike Davis, take away that hole, because Lowry can bounce balls to right field. He's been known to do that.
3-2 runner goes and another walk.
Yeah, well, I don't know what that was, but it wasn't the breaking ball or the fastball. It was somewhere in between, and that's what Oakland wants. The free pass, 2 of them now.
So 2 on, 2 down, a run in. Davis goes down to second base. Laurie picks up the walk, which will be the second surrendered by Wilson in the game. Sam Fuld coming up. Fuld flying out to center field. His first time up. Fuld doesn't want that ball in the air. Line drives ground balls where he'll get his hits. 2 on, 2 down. Fuld will take it inside for a ball, and that'll send Caleb Joseph out to talk.
Yeah, trying to throw a little cutter inside and keeps missing, and then so here is a second-year catcher talking to a first-year pitcher, saying, "Okay, hey, make your pitches, and if he's going to get behind, he's going to have to change speeds because he's got 90." It usually doesn't get a whole lot of major league hitters out, especially if it's in hitters count in the middle of the plate. And Dave Wallace is going big. I mean, he's 6-1. This is a big at bat here.
Gets him back in if he gets a base hit.
And then again, when you stop throwing strikes, boy, everybody gets frustrated. You get frustrated because you know what.
Look at Dave run.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dave Wallace. That's a sprint.
Yeah.
Dave came out of the dugout. That's as fast as I've ever seen him go to the mound. He had something to say. This wasn't to draw time for the bullpen. This was I got a couple of things I want you to know.
Well, one of the hardest things when you pitch is you get anxious, and what happens is instead of really loading and making sure your arm gets up, you get going down the pitching rubber, and your arm never catches up. That's why you see a lot of balls being pulled, a lot of balls in the dirt. So take a deep breath. Make sure you complete your windup. They're not going to be stealing bases, not in this case.
Fuld has been a platoon player because he hits only $115 against lefties. Making most of his starts against right-handers. Taking a pitch right there, only 228 off right-handers.
Hey, see, he's capped one of those money. These guys roller coaster year. He's fought 5 for his last 15 after going 2 for 18. He certainly thought that he would hit higher than 214.
Runners off first and second base. Pitch to Fuld, and that one will miss inside. He's trying desperately to draw the walk, and he's got the count to 3 balls and 1 strike.
I'm not even sure he's going to have to try. It just seems like Tyler Wilson has lost his command.
Wilson had walked only 3 in the 17 innings he had pitched this year. He's walked 2 in this one. Full takes it. He wasn't going to swing. It's there for a strike. So the count goes to 3-2. And with 2 down, Davis at second. Laurie at first will be off. Pitch on the way, and a ground ball towards second. Jonathan Scope in the outfield grass makes the play. So Wilson works his way through it. And for the Orioles, defense again coming up, and again at short. J.J. Hardy, 2 outstanding plays. To the way. How about the Twins? They've now dropped 11 of the last 15. Tommy Malone's placed on the DL. Tyler Duffy to debut on Wednesday. Toronto 5, Minnesota 1 today. Cubs tied with the Giants for the second NL wildcard spot. They're 4 games back of the Pirates for the first spot. Big week for them. They've got 3 games at Pittsburgh and 4 games against San Francisco. And for the Rays, they continue to struggle. They're going to use a 4-man rotation now due to 3 days off in the next 11. And Matt Moore has been sent to the minors to try and get things straightened out.
Yeah, coming off Tommy John surgery. And, of course, I saw, to me, a kind of a disarming thing about the Pirates. A.J. Burnett, who, lives outside of Baltimore. He's certainly got some elbow issues. So, well, what a gamer he's been. Hope that he's able to get a handle on that injury. Obviously a big important part of the Pirates team.
They hope he hopes he's going to be able to pitch through it. Dubras on the mound, got the final out in the last inning. Starts here against Wieters, who is 0 for 2. And the pitch to Matt will be taken away for a ball. Matt DHing, followed by Hardy and Paredes. The Orioles have won 7 of their last 9 ball games. Yet despite that, have gained only 1 game in the standings. And he went around. Home plate umpire As Diaz will make the call on that.
And as you know, that's the only thing in control is how you play. Yeah, DeBron could probably help them. Bob Melvin talking about the big, they lost Gregerson as a free agent to Houston. He's done a terrific job for them. And then Sean Doolittle, their closer, a lefty. He's had shoulder problems, may go out on a rehab. But again, early on, how about just starting the year 1-13 in 1-run games?
Yep. It's been a killer.
Yeah, really.
They're 11-25.
Yeah.
Wieters on a swing and a miss. Dubron has been somebody Matt has really struggled with. He's had 2 hits against him and 22 at bats.
Well, I think again, do you see the ball? I mean, there's no way. I mean, he's got all you see is the back of his uniform. And then, like I said, he long arms it, so you probably see the front arm, which is his right arm, and then somewhere you're trying to pick up where the ball's released. And some guys, it's just hard. How about Sid Fernandez? Remember when he was with the Mets?
Nobody ever saw it pitch.
No,
through.
Come right out of the jersey. And 88, 90, looked like 100.
J.J. Hardy has had the night defensively and has also picked up a single at 2 at-bats in the ballgame. Stands in for Hardy against Dubras. 3 for 21. If you look at these numbers of the Oriole hitters against Dubron, he should have started this game. Man.
Well, he pitched well when he was with the Red Sox. He just frustrated him because of the conditioning and the fact that, again, they thought they would have somebody better. Every time he pitched, you're doing the game, you're going, oh, it's going to be tough to get runs.
Hardy to be followed by Paredes. One down. We're in the 5th inning. Pitch on the way to him. We're going to try and show you tonight a couple of different defensemen at short in this ball game. I had a talk with J.J. Hardy before the ball game about fielding ground balls. Semien, who is the young shortstop who's committed a lot of errors on the other side for Oakland, they play completely differently on ground balls. Semien was out there tonight with a flat pancake glove, which they use when shortstops are making errors to try and get a better feel of the ball. He was taking ground balls. It's not really a glove. It's just a flat piece of leather. It forces you to bring your throwing hand down on top of the glove, and it lets you feel the ball in your catching hand. But if you don't bring your other hand down, it just bounces off that flat piece of leather. And I asked JJ, I said, you ever use that? He said, I tried it once and I hate it. He said, I think it's the wrong way to do it. JJ catches the ball with his throwing hand away from the glove. He said, I want to get the ball in the glove and only the glove, and I don't want my throwing hand interfering with that. I bring my throwing hand over after I've got the ball in the glove. That ball's a base hit. Shortstop's not going to have a play on that one.
Yeah, try to get that flat glove on that one. Not happening.
Yeah, flat glove or not, not going to catch that one. In our Major League notebook on this date in baseball history, 1957, the Pirates manager Bobby Bragan was going to work when he found out he wasn't working anymore. He heard on the radio he'd been fired. Danny Murtaugh had been hired, and Joel Brown had leaked the news to the press before he told his skipper. And in 1967, Charlie Finley fired his manager, Alvin Dock. They had a disagreement over how to handle a player matter. First baseman Ken Harrelson was playing for him at the time. He was quoted as saying, "The owner is a menace to the sport."
And then he got traded to the Red Sox and played in the World Series.
Exactly.
Hawk's a lot smarter than I gave him credit for.
Now he broadcasts for the White Sox.
Yeah.
Pretty good lines there.
Well, I still think the best one is when they fired Jimmy Dykes in Baltimore, and the general manager looked at me and said, "You got a little like green, like something on the back of your uniform," because I think he was going to manage that night, and then he was gone. He goes, "Oh, no, that's just mistletoe," and then he walked out of the office. You probably weren't there for that one, were you?
I missed that. I missed that in the home run you gave up to Ruth. But other than that, I've seen a lot of baseball.
You've been around playing. Yeah. It's amazing what can happen on the West Coast.
It is. Yeah. Amazing. Hardy on at first base, 2 for 3 of the ball game. Paredes 0 for 2 is struck out, grounded out, and a swing and a miss. DeBron, a couple of tough pitches, and a 1-ball, 2-strike count. 11,476 the announced attendance. 11,476. It's not been easy bringing the fans in when you're 47 and 59. And that will be fouled off. Dumoulin making him reach there as he keeps those pitches down and on the outside part of the plate or even a little further out.
Yeah, I think the other thing, and it's no reflection on Felix, is that their bullpen needs so much help, and their starters are #1 in the American League. So obviously when you pick him up for cash considerations from Toronto, he goes right to the pen to help him there.
He will do that. Get down to third, fair ball. That's going to roll into the corner. Making the turn is J.J. Hardy coming to third. Bobby Dickerson's going to wave him on home. Trouble picking it up in the corner. Hardy will score easily standing up. It's a double and an RBI for Paredes, and the Orioles lead at 7-1.
Yeah, so Jimmy Paredes yesterday against Daniel Norris, he turned around and hit lefty off the lefty, even though he's a switch hitter. This time, the minute Coco Crisp had trouble picking up, Bobby Dickerson, the third base coach, take a look right here, hooked by Lowry, can't get to it. So the minute he has trouble, you know he doesn't have any arm strength. The ball hits the cushion, goes straight down. You can see kind of a floating throw, and the Orioles get their 7th run.
And Paredes will pick up his 40th RBI of the season. So the Orioles just adding runs after the 3-run homer in the first by Davis. Pitch will be taken away for a ball. Jonathan Scope already 2 for 2. A couple of singles, and he has scored as the Orioles now have 11 hits. 7 runs and 11 hits for the Orioles. A run on 3 hits for the A's. Scope to be followed by Joseph. Bottom part of the order. Well, actually, everybody's done pretty well in the order, contributing to the offense. But down towards the bottom here, you got Hardy's 2 for 3, Paredes base hit RBI, Scope's 2 for 2, and Joseph's got a 2-run homer. So the Orioles getting it done. Jesse Chavez charged with 6 runs, 9 hits in 3 2/3 innings. He walked 2 and struck out 1. Dubron on in relief, first run off him. And a swing and a miss as he throttled back a bit on a breaking ball that came down and into Jonathan Scope. 1 ball, 2 strike count. It's a great start for the Oriole bats. Dubron looked back, big secondary lead, not trying to hold it. Another breaking ball. That one, though, is too far inside. Dubron kind of shaking his head. Got that one too far inside. He'd thrown a great pitch before that had tied up Jonathan Scope. Orioles 1 for 5 with runners in scoring position in the game. Pitch on the way, swung on a miss. That's where he wanted that pitch before that.
He had the ability to bury the breaking ball under the strike zone. So when you get the 2 strikes and you still have 1 to work with, you're protecting if you're Jonathan Scope, and then he just gets on top of it. He's about 6'3", so good tilt on the breaking ball out of the zone, and he gets the K.
And that will bring up the most productive 9-hitter, I think, in baseball. Caleb Joseph, he's had the home run in the ball game, is 9th. That came in the 4th. Talking about number 9 hitters, there are some who deliver home runs.
Yeah, Zunino, of course, he hits home runs, average under 200. And then how about Addison Russell? He was actually in this organization, the A's. He traded to the Cubs last year for Samardzija and Hamels.
Joseph has not had an at-bat against Dubron on the year for Caleb. 250 off left-handers, 3 home runs. Almost the same off right-handers, 246, 6 home runs. Delivery on the way, kept that down and away at 91. Chance to strike out the side. He got Wieters leading it off and Scope with 2 down, but in between, Hardy got a base hit. And Paredes got the double and an RBI. Pitch on the way to Caleb, will be in the dirt. Good scoop. Both able to make the save on it. See where he went after it. That's in that bright red zone.
Yeah, and then the home runs earlier in the week were down and in, just turned on him. But he crushed that home run.
One to enjoy as you circle the bases because he knew it was gone. Dubron's delivery to him, and that is there for a strike. The Paredes RBI is his first since July 11. He went 54, I'm sorry, 5-4 at bats without an RBI.
He's got a lot of opportunities, still hitting over 350. Came in at 356 with runners in scoring position.
Looks like his bat is heating up again after a bit of a dry spell. Delivered to Joseph, and he'll foul that one away. Paredes continues to jump in and out of the official rankings. He came in today 7th with runners in scoring position because he's in and out of the lineup a bit. Trying to get that 3.1 at bats per game that your team has played has been a little tough for him. He's one day he's got it, next day he doesn't. One day he's listed, the next day he's not. Caleb Joseph got another one. That's going to go in the gap. That'll roll to crisp on the warning track. Easily scoring Paredes into second with a double as Caleb Joseph, and another 3 RBI ball game for the Oriole catcher.
They had one over the weekend against the Tigers, and again he just works the count. Finally he laid off a really good 2-strike pitch. This one, instead of being down and away, down and in, drops the bat, and the Orioles get another run.
So that will result in a meeting at the mound again. You obviously do not want to go too deep in this bullpen in this ball game that is already 8-1, but it is just the 5th inning. All right, Caleb Joseph in multi-RBI games. That's going to be his 3rd 3 RBI ball game, so he should get a shot, may get a shot at his first 4 RBI game. And Caleb just continues amazing production. I mean, the Orioles, he's there to catch, to back up Matt Wieters. Then when Matt's out, takes over the job and not only catches but surprisingly good offense.
Very, very conscientious. He knows. I mean, his swing's pretty much about his front elbow. You know, if it flies open, this bat's going to loop. And he's worked very hard to correct that.
And the pitch will float away from Manny Machado. Manny's looking for his first hit, 0 for 2 and a walk, stranded at third base in the 4th inning when he got on. Well, the Orioles improving their numbers tonight, 2 for 7 with runners in scoring position. They're still number 2 in the league in that average. Machado will take the pitch inside. Dubois trying to finesse his way now around it, and just kind of looks back a little discouraged.
He just doesn't throw as hard as he did 3 or 4 years ago, and he's still relatively young. Hasn't had any arm injuries in recent history.
Pitch on the way. Machado will go after one down and away. Orioles now with 12 hits in the ball game. Look at that number this inning. It's 2 innings worth of pitches thrown. Two ball, 1 strike count, runner on second base. Machado towards the hole. It'll be cut off. Laurie's got it, makes the play over to first base, and that will do it. But the Orioles are going to add a couple more. And again, Caleb Joseph delivering the RBI double. Paredes had one before that. Joseph gets the second one, 8-1. Friday, August 14th. It'll begin at noon in the warehouse at Oriole Park. The luncheon will honor Melvin Mora, Gary Renicky, John Lowenstein, and Fred Ullman Sr. They will also be honored that evening. Special on-field ceremonies prior to the Orioles game that night. For the luncheon, you can get your tickets by calling 410-247-2703, or if you want more information, go to Orioles.com. Caleb Joseph celebrating yet another fine night. Hardy at the plate and in the field, and Paredes back on the RBI track with his double. And the Orioles on top. And for Tyler Wilson, loving the support here as we go to the bottom of the 5th.
Yeah, about a little bit over 14 pitches an inning.
Simeon leading it off, Sogard, and then top of the order. And that one will be foul back.
Yeah. not exactly a cruise. He was able to pitch his way out of trouble in the last inning. After giving up the run, base hit and a walk, and then got the ground ball out.
Simeon's gone just 9 for 50 since the All-Star break, and now it's 9 for 51. And Wilson's got his first strikeout.
Yeah, and it's a really good breaking ball. Right on the corner.
Second baseman, number 28, Eric Sogard.
Eric Sogard, their second baseman, grounded out his first time to the plate. The left-handers coming into the game against Wilson, 11 for 37. Played by Jonathan Scope. And a pitch and an out on Sogard.
Yeah.
2 down.
Hit sharply, but again, if you throw it for a ball, he probably takes it, hits it sharply, or at least shifted that way a little bit. It wasn't
Now adding center fielder,
typical shift, you see.
Billy Burns.
Billy Burns, the rookie in the leadoff spot in center field. He has grounded out twice in the ball game. This Oakland offense we've talked about, they have scored 2 or fewer 13 of their last 26 games. That is the most such games in the American League over the last month. It has been such an enormous struggle trying to cross the plate for the A's. And, well, Melvin, there's only so much you can do. Shuffling the lineup, moving players around, you'll lose some key players. Oh, Joseph took that one right off the mask.
Caleb says, don't you know how hot I am the last DS? It's not going to bother me. It might bother my mask, but not me. Right off the side of the mask.
Going to make a note now. We're going to ask Caleb after the game. What'd you say to him? Fine running catch made. Para, it was more towards the middle, goes over to get it, and it is a 1-2-3 inning, the second 1-2-3 that Wilson's had. Last 8 games, he had 2 in the previous 29. Unbelievable with the Mets. The Rangers defeated the first place Astros. Beltre had his 3rd career cycle. The Astros 15 games over 500. If they had been able to win it, would have been the first time since 2005. They didn't get it. The Angels have lost 6 straight, 9 out of 10. They have not lost 7 straight since Mike Trout joined the ball club. They are playing tonight and losing to Cleveland
by a run.
Yep.
Yeah, Lucas Duda, I was kind of watching some of the highlights. So what Granderson and Daniel Murphy and Duda on 5 pitches off a very good pitcher, Jordan Zimmerman, hit back-to-back home runs. And the ball that Duda hit is like the perfect pitch up and in. And he just kind of gets the bat head out, hits it down the right field line at Citi Field, and everybody celebrates.
It's hard to be that hot. That's amazing.
Well, it's hard to get that hot, and it's even harder to stay that hot.
In fact, he's been able to continue it. Dubron working here.
Of course, they get Cespedes in that lineup, so now all of a sudden they're going to have it'd be harder to pitch around him.
Gerardo Parra at the plate. Parra has scored 2 runs, 1 on a walk, 1 on a single when he reached. Last time up, he flied out. Parra's got the job done on the base paths tonight. Dubron working here in the top of the 6th inning. The Orioles leading at 8-1. Towards first base, Mike Davis will take it to the bag. 1 down. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Orioles may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles. Looking at Ike Davis down there at first base with the Mets. He's looking the Mets in first place for the first time since August of 2008. Here's Adam Jones. Jones going for a 4 for 4. 2 singles, a double, an RBI, and a run scored. Big night for Adam. And in the multi-hit game, he's had 3 4-hit games this year. After another one. Throttled back on him, Dubron did. For Adam this year against the lefties, solid .325. Well, 50 points higher, 51 exactly coming into the ball game against higher against lefties and righties. Dubron's delivery, a fastball. That's there for a strike in the outside corner up. Dubron coming on for Chavez in the 4th inning. This is the second full inning the left-hander's trying to work through. Jones on a check swing, foul ball. Ball hits bat, not bat hits ball.
Trying to get out of the way.
Delivery to Adam again. That one will bounce inside. So Jones takes it to a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Like Showalter's Ball Club, after their 54th win, if they can get this one here tonight, they will again move 3 games above 500. The Orioles chasing down that wild card first, which is just a game away. That ball in the air to center field. Burns. And he's got it. Jones is retired. 2 down. Looks like this wild card race is just going to be wide open. I mean, the Twins had been the team that was the #1 wild card team for so long, and then they have just dropped off into oblivion. The Orioles will have a chance to, with a victory here tonight, to move into that second wild card, maybe even first wild card spot, because the Angels of Minnesota have the exact same records. The Orioles trail both of those wild card teams by a game. And not done with the Yankees. The division race is not over. Davis with a home run in the first inning, his 27th, good for 3 RBIs. He's 1 for 3 in the ball game. Down to first base. Ike Davis retires Chris Davis. And Dubron has a 1-2-3 inning. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th with the Orioles on top behind Tyler Wilson.
Lead is Chris Davis after a couple of base hits in the first off of Jeffy Chazet. Chavez 28th home run, 3-0. And then Caleb Joseph, a great throw and tag by Jonathan Scope. Brett Lowry thrown out, and then another home run by Caleb Joseph. 2 of the 3 RBIs he has tonight. As the Orioles lead at 8-1. Tyler Wilson pitching. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote.
So Tyler Wilson with a lot to work with here. He started missing the strike zone a bit in the 4th inning. Dave Wallace came out running faster than he's run in 20 years. He did all the talking, and since then Tyler Wilson's thrown strikes.
Yeah. He probably heard I inadvertently tweeted that he went to Virginia Tech, and it unnerved him, and they actually went to the University of Virginia. You think, is there a difference there?
Ooh.
No, just kidding.
Okay, good. Okay.
I know you know.
No,
So for anybody that I offended, any of you Cavaliers, I apologize. Not for the way he's pitched.
No. Pitch on the way, and that'll be taken for a strike. Oh. Well, it's Karen I'm most worried about, because Karen's daughter just graduated from UVA. So she's loyal now. So we want to make sure she understands.
Well, Karen's loyal too after the tuition.
Yes, Karen is our wonderful stage manager, but much more than that in our broadcasts at home.
I wonder if she's up.
No.
Hanging on every word.
No, she's gone to bed. She is asleep.
You don't think so?
No. Ball is going to be popped up. That'll go to short. Hardy. Well, they find a way to get Coco Crisp in this ball game. Has had a couple of hits.
A little off-speed pitch. He hit a couple of fastballs for base hits. No perfect game. You pitch well. You throw strikes. As you mentioned, maybe the command wavered a little bit. They get you early runs. They sustain the offense.
And he adjusted.
Yeah.
I mean, he had that, seriously, had the discussion, and now throwing strikes again. Stephen Vogt up. He's been robbed a couple of times on 2 good plays. One at first base by Chris Davis, and the other made by J.J. Hardy at short his last time up. Orioles go into the shift.
Yeah, Tyler Wilson's one of those young pitchers that is comfortable pitching to both sides of the plate. So when he was missing in the lefties, and occasionally that one, of course, obviously up and away. But if he's going to throw 90-91, he's going to have to do that. And looks like he's fully capable of doing that.
Ball in the air to right field, hit hard, hit deep. Paredes turns around, takes a look, and it comes right off the 367 mark. Big strong arm in all the way over to third. Whoa.
Yeah. Well, what a Bucks. And that breaks for Stephen Vogt. He was 0 for 26 coming in, so he's happy.
Breaks the 0 for.
Now 1 for 29. I mean, they try to go in. He gets it in, but nice swing. Check out this swing. This is what Buck Showalter said. Arm strength's not a problem. He airmails all the way to Manny Machado.
So now Butler's got an RBI chance. That'll be hit number 4. And Stephen Vogt can smile again with the 0 for gone. Pitch on the way will be fouled back late on that one by Butler. Butler's also had J.J. Hardy in his life tonight. Hardy's picked up a couple of ground balls that Butler's hit and made fine plays on them. J.J. has had a real night out there at shortstop. Runner at second base, 1 out. We're in the bottom half of the 6th inning. And a good overhand pitch where he took something off it but fooled him with the delivery.
Yeah, that was the breaking ball that he struck out Semien with, and able to locate it right on the corner.
1 for 4 tonight in these situations for Oakland. He's got 4 hits in the ball game. Pitch on the way. It's been kind of fun watching Adam Jones in center field tonight because he's become an assistant coach. He's got Power in left field with him, who's learning how the defense aligns for the Orioles, and he's got Paredes in right field, who's playing his first game in the outfield in right field for the Orioles this year. And Adams been out there hollering at guys virtually every pitch. Good delivery right there. Don't need an outfield to catch the strikeout.
Yeah, perfect 2-strike pitch. The one thing about Billy Butler, not having the kind of year they envisioned, or he envisioned, a lot of times he'll foul that pitch off. Not tonight. That was a good breaking ball.
That'll bring Ike Davis up. 2 down, runner at second base. Davis a base hit and an RBI came in the 4th inning. He's also drawn a walk. It's the only run they put up on the board after a leadoff single by Chris. With a couple down, Davis brought him home. The Orioles' Chris Davis has the 3-run homer he got in the 1st inning. And the Orioles have added to that with RBIs. Paredes an RBI double, and Caleb Joseph has picked up 3 RBIs in the ball game with a home run for 2 and an RBI double. One 0 count. Tyler Wilson's pitch, another good one. Pretty good arm move.
Yeah, you're seeing him get more comfortable. And again, you have to understand the ball that they use in the minor leagues is different than the one in the major leagues. And wondering why. Probably cost. So it seemed a little bit higher. But now all of a sudden we've seen some good breaking balls. He pitched well early, but it was mostly fastballs.
Ike Davis waiting, and that one located at the knees on the outside corner. But Tyler Wilson, impressive here in this performance. Just his 2nd start, 6th appearance of the year.
And the pitch count only at 76, and he pitched just coming off a 7-inning game. So certainly he gets it, keep getting them out. Pitch count well in hand.
Davis will take that one down low. Davis, .240 career hitter, coming in most of the time spent with the Mets. Last year with the Mets and largely the Pirates, where he had 131 games played, at .235 with Pittsburgh last season.
And then one big home run year. 32 home runs with the Mets?
On a 1-year deal here. That one right off the end of the bat goes to Jonathan Scope. Scope will make the play, and that will retire the side. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left on. Our Mazda do-ups, Weeders, Hardy, Paredes, when we come back to Oakland. And Texas. The most pitchers used so far this year. The Braves at 31. And the Dodgers, Yankees, and Rangers at 29. And the most starting pitchers used, and this is the one that really surprised me, because it throttles our theory. Dodgers have used 15 starters.
Well, Rayu had the shoulder problems, and then you had Brandon McCarthy. They signed a 4-year deal. Tommy John. So they've had a number of injuries in their starting staff.
But we've always gone with the Kurt Schilling rule that if you want to see what the standings are, find the pitchers who have the
Yeah, the most innings and
Hey, wait a minute.
less injuries.
Did you buy a ticket? It's a rally possum. Only comes out fifth
When
inning.
7 runs down.
Yeah. It's a home. Oh, Lord. Who needs a new stadium? Come on. Oh, gee.
What's a possum going to do?
Sit and watch the game.
No, I mean,
It's not the possum's fault.
maybe that's why they haven't built the new
An
stadium.
endangered species.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's calm. He's sad. His club's down 8-1. Not a lot going on. All part of making a living. Dubra on the mound, and we are in the 7th inning. Matt Wieters is struck out, flied out, grounded out, and that one will be bounced. Dubra here has been on since the 4th inning, threw only 1 pitch though to get an out there.
Well, he won 11 games in back-to-back years for the Red Sox. So when you can get a guy that's 27, you need pitching help, and for cash, didn't fit in Toronto because they probably didn't need a starter, or at least didn't feel like he could fill the role they needed. So it comes out here. I don't know if you've heard, you can make a lot of money pitching in the big leagues. No?
I've heard that, but it's not going to do me anything. No, you're in agreement on that. Dubra's delivery is going to be low and inside. 8-12-0 for the Orioles, 1-4-0 for Oakland.
Looking for the moon.
I would ask why, but and Matt Wieters started walking away before the call even made. That's 4 strikeouts for Dubron.
And you talked about Matt was what, 2 for 22 or 3, now make it 2 for 24 inside corner. I mean, look at that. All you see is the arm and the uniform, and then there's the ball.
J.J. Hardy, couple of base hits. He is 2 for 3 in the ball game. And Dubron's pitch will be taken for a strike. J.J. now at 242 with the 29 RBIs and getting on base to score some runs for the Orioles this year. A bouncer. Of course, Manny Machado has been their leader when it comes to runs being scored for much of the year. He's been in the top 10 in runs scored, and in fact started the day 6th. Manny was 67 times crossing the plate. Hardy now at 36. 1 ball, 1 strike count. JJ will take the pitch inside. 91-mile-an-hour delivery will move the count to 2 balls and 1 strike. Dubron bouncing that one.
And for JJ, that shoulder injury in spring training really set him back. Major league hitter, 261, so it comes in hitting very well with runners in scoring, but the average about 20 points higher, or actually lower than Norm, but a lot better.
Broken bat. Lowry drops it twice, and Hardy is on.
Well, I hope they give him a hit, but again, that's Manny Machado. If he would have caught it, he would have taken a couple of stuff. I mean, you get to it. Are you under control? I mean, it's in the webbing. And then can't catch it the first time, or can't catch it the second time with the bare hand.
It'll be an error. First error of the ball game. Laurie charged with it at third base. So they continue to pile up the errors. Their 92nd error of the season. Compare that to the Orioles, 41. Down the line, and that'll be a foul ball. Paredes a double, and RBI his last time up. Jimmy has had a 1 for 3 in the ball game. Sometimes you can pile up those errors and you get away with them, but the Oakland A's have not been able to do that. And I mean that in the sense of runs scoring off them. You look at the unearned runs that have been scored 46, second most in the majors. San Diego has actually given up more unearned runs, even though committing fewer errors. And a swing and a miss, challenged him that time with a high fastball that Jimmy could not catch up to. LeBron going upstairs with this one.
Yeah, big swing, overswing.
Hardy, short lead at first base. And that's going to be hit hard to second base. Sogard's got it, goes to short, one relay. And they turn the double play. No runs, no hits. One error and nobody left on base. It's possum time. 7th inning stretch. Get him a go now. Come on. You can do it. Is brought to you by PNC Bank, for the achiever in you. Here in Oakland, Oakland Coliseum. Orioles will make a couple of changes here as Parra is going to move around to right field, and Lowe will come on as a defensive replacement in left field. So out of the ball game is Jimmy Paredes. Laurie will be leading it off in the bottom half of the 7th inning. Tyler Wilson had it quietly, cruising along here.
Well, he's gotten better as the game has progressed as far as the quality of his pitches, low pitch count. Meanwhile, they just keep adding offense. All 8 runs, 12 hits.
And that pitch will be taken for a strike. Sure helps when you have the early lead. We mentioned that in our pregame show. Get that going. That's exactly what they did for the Orioles offense. Take the heat off the starter. Down the line. Of course it's going to go there. Hauled in by Parra, who just moved over there and puts it away for the out.
Yeah, I was hoping Paredes, the only ball he got to play was the double over his head. I never saw him get a fly ball tonight.
There's Jimmy back on the bench. Kevin Gausman on his right. Your right.
Fielder, 23, Sam Ball.
He has played all 3 outfield positions this year, signaling I can do it. Actually, he's looking into the dugout saying, where do I go? Adam Jones is trying to tell him. I think there's not much help coming from that end of the dugout right now. Pitch is taken for a strike. Getting him lined up. Coach and center. For the Orioles lining up, I again was talking the other day about exactly what they were doing when it came to the outfield with Wayne Kirby, who's in charge of the outfielders. Ball will go to second. Big hop. Scope spins. And Wayne was saying, when we line up straight away, it means this. The center fielder lines up with second base home. The left fielder lines up with second base. So he's looking directly across the diamond and in. And the right fielder does the same thing, lining up with second to third. That's why the Orioles outfielders are always closer to the middle than most outfielders play.
Yeah, they bunch them.
They bunch them towards the middle, and we said, Wayne was telling us the reason for that, they do not want collisions in the outfield. That ball will go to center. Hit hard, jumping. Did he catch it? Yes! Adam Jones started back, and the ball dove on him. Dan Bellino, the second base umpire, went out and made the call on it. And Bob Melvin is looking to his replay people as whether or not that ball was actually caught.
Yeah, that ball may get reversed. It's almost like he didn't see it, and that's why he did take a half a step back, and he's looking in because everybody's off the field, kind of off the field. They're not all the way off.
He's not going to do it. So it's going to be a 1-2-3 inning. That will retire the side, and we'll go to the 8th inning on the catch made by Adam Jones. Our Honda do-ups, Scope, Joseph, and Machado. Miguel Gonzalez will be on the mound against Chris Bassett. Our coverage on MASN 2 begins at 9:30 with those extra, presented by Jeep, followed by our game coverage at 10. All the access you need right here on MASN.
So Miguel Gonzalez trying to win his 10th game, and then Chris Bassett, very, very good numbers, and then they do not score when he pitches. Big, tall righty with good stuff.
He is not alone in that department, however.
No, he is not.
Orioles up, and the pitch will be taken up high for a ball. Scope with a couple of singles, and he has struck out. He has scored a run. Orioles on top here, 8-1, out hitting the A's 12-4. Really not been much of a ball game in terms of competitiveness. To the Orioles' credit, they went after Jesse Chavez, got 6 runs on 9 hits and 3 2/3. Dubras has come on to save the bullpen in long relief, coming on in the 4th inning with 2 down. He's been charged with a couple of runs. Down to third and fair. That'll roll into foul territory over that bullpen mound and into the corner. Coco Crisp over to get it, and it'll be a double and a 3-hit ball game for Jonathan Scope.
Yeah, when you're not overpowering, where you put the ball as far as on the plate dictates where the ground ball is going to be hit. Once again, probably too much on the inside of that part of the plate at 91. Jonathan turns on it. And again, he's had a nice little night. 3 hits now.
So Caleb Joseph will get a chance at his first 4 RBI game this year. His home run, good for 2, came in the 4th inning. Next inning, followed with an RBI double. Chavez gave up 2 home runs in his start, Davis and Joseph. Runner at second base, and nobody out. Caleb's job, of course, here if not get him in, at least get him over. Even with an 8-1 score, trying to do the things you're supposed to do. Orioles 2 for 8, runners in scoring position. And the pitch is a strike on the inside corner to Caleb.
Well, that's a great point, because even though it is 8-1 and they struggle for runs, he may be playing in the next night or two, and when it's not 8-1. So what's it feel like to hit the ball, stay inside it, hit it the other way?
Caleb waiting on it, and it'll come inside, hit the corner.
And Dubron goes, well, wait a minute, you want to hit the ball the other way? I'm going to throw you a slow curveball. Which actually, if you're looking for it, which he wasn't, it's an easier ball to steer the other way. But a lot of times you'll be around it, hit it to the left side, and don't advance the runner.
That ball down the line in right field, bullpen side, and off the front of the seats in foul territory.
Yeah, it's great to watch outfielders in this park. It's so big. They put their head down and just start sprinting.
So much room.
Yeah, trying to get to the point, because and then the fair foul territory around the bases is just unbelievable. I mean, the Orioles played here, I think, the first time in 1968. Dave McNally pitched a 3-0 shutout. I was injured at the time. I talked to Davey Leonard on the phone, and I said, what was the ballpark like? He said it was a long way from the dugout to the field.
It is.
It is.
It's
forever.
Yeah, it's double the foul territory distance
least
here that you would see anywhere else. And maybe 2/3 shorter in many ballparks. It's a long way out there. And the same holds true all the way down the line till you get into the corners and left and right. Dubron's delivery on the way, and kicked that one. It'll go to second. Sogard's got it and will make the play. 1-4-3. Runner goes to third, though. Talking about this ballpark now, you have to keep in mind that half of these numbers come from the A's themselves, who have not been a good offensive team.
Yeah, so again, it's a tough place to really score runs.
See, the second lowest average, the runs, fifth lowest, third ERA, pitcher's ballpark.
Yeah, I was looking at they give us the notes on the plane last night, and it was the Sunday notes, but they always have this date in history, and they went back to 1972, and the Catfish Hunter pitched a 5-hit shutout, and that preceded a shutout the day before of 2-0, and then that preceded, I think that was the Invita Blues shutout of 2-0.
Decent starters.
Yes, and pitching at home.
Yeah,
where they were pretty good. I think Kenny Holtzman was in that group.
Infield's going to be moved in here with a runner at third base, Jonathan Scope. Manny Machado up. Now again, the score is 8-1, so why not just play the D back? Well, you're trying to do what you might do in a closer ball game and try and make the play, even though you're down by 7 runs late in the ball game. And fouled away. Manny trying to punch that thing through that drawn-in infield. Jonathan Scope at third base.
Yeah, he'll take another RBI.
Dubron.
He's at 55.
Yeah. Delivery on the way with the lefty, and that'll be inside to Manny. For Machado, 281 off lefties, 296 off righties. The great evenness of the numbers across the board for Manny continues. 1-2 delivery. Machado's going to get it in. That's a base hit and an RBI. Scope crosses the plate.
It's amazing how he can get on top of most high fastballs. I thought Dubron, after he moved his feet, would go down and away, but as it turns out, he gets it up and in, and watch him. This will be a great idea. Just look how he gets on top of that swing.
Now batting, number 18.
And he stayed inside it, and he hit a crisp line drive with the infield in to make it 9-1 and get another RBI.
56 RBIs. Gerardo Parra now. Parra with a couple of runs scored, a walk, a single. He's flied out, grounded out. More bullpen action for the A's. They've gotten a good work out of Dubron. There is Arnold Leone warming up in the bullpen, just joining the ball club. 9-1. 9 runs on 14 hits. 3 of the runs have been scored against Dubron on relief. And the pitch is there to Parra. First time the Orioles have played Oakland this year. Oakland will be coming to the Camden Yards ballpark for 4 games later this month. Parra reaching for it, fouls it back. And Showalter's had a quiet night. Not a lot of stress over there. The starter's gone the distance so far. Team got 3 in the first and kept adding and put this ball game away early. Runner off first base. Parra takes the pitch away for a ball.
Yeah, you got to know your players, and boy, the trust factor is so important. They put your name in the lineup. They fly Tyler Wilson with the Orioles all the way across the country to take Chris Tillman's place, and then he comes out and gives them an outstanding effort.
Yeah. Pitch to him and a breaking ball in there for a strike. Just fooled him. Good pitch. That's 5 strikeouts for Dubron, second out of the inning.
Yeah, his pitch count now at 80. It's almost like he started this game as actually Jesse Chavez. And real good curveball.
Now batting, number 10, Adam Jones.
Adam Jones, a 3-hit game. 2 singles, double, RBI, and a run scored. He is 3 for 4 in the ball game. Only Matt Wieters does not have a hit in the ball game tonight for the Orioles starters. Adam with a 1-0 count. So Adam increases the numbers against this Oakland team. He's a .286 hitter in this ballpark coming into this game. A couple of home runs hit here. Pitch on the way. Jones reaching down the line right field. Full the long run over. Will get there in fair territory and put it away. Orioles though add another. They do it on a couple of hits. Will leave 1 on base and extend their lead for Tyler Wilson. #1 app for live baseball. At bat up to the moment at any moment. In-game highlights, live look-ins, radio broadcast, StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or tablet. Now, this is Tyler Wilson, and when he goes out to take his warm-ups, every time, this is what he does before he throws a pitch. Hey, if it works, it works. And it's worked.
Did he play basketball at the University of Virginia? They had pretty good.
I think actually he did.
He actually had some pretty good vertical leap there.
Yes, he did.
Well, you got you know, Kevin Gausman throws his first warm-up from behind the mound.
Sogard goes right up the middle with it. So he's got a base hit leading off the bottom of the 8th inning. His first 1 for 3.
And that's another way of defending yourself when the hit line drives back up the middle. Jump up out of the way.
Now we know why he does it.
Saturday night we saw 3 guys get plunked pitching in Baltimore.
Scribner in the bullpen. That's Evan Scribner working out of the bullpen. Here's Billy Burns, their leadoff batter. Burns 0 for 3. That's hit number 5 for the A's in the game. Burns on a check swing will take the pitch up high for a ball. Wilson working here in the 8th inning. He's got a big lead. He may get a shot at a complete game. Got to get through this inning though, and rather efficiently. Swing and a miss on it. Only 88 pitches thrown in the ball game. He's had one of the better starts of any Oriole this year in terms of efficiency. Pitches thrown. And that one's going to miss just a little bit inside. What a night for Wilson. Looking for his second major league win. Dave Wallace has been able to kind of sit back, watch, and enjoy the performance. He'll miss up high with it. 3-ball, 1-strike count. Could be that tank pointing towards E a little bit.
Yeah, and then they get to see him, and right here you know what the scoreboard dictates, that you pretty much can't imagine going to throw anything other than a fastball outside middle. Hope he hits it, one of your guys.
Right there for a strike.
Of course, Billy Burns is trying to get on, so he takes that pitch. As I mentioned, he's hit 350 here in Oakland.
Michael Gibbons in the bullpen for the Orioles. First action the Orioles have had. And the pitch on the way is a strike. Got him, and there's not going to be an argument.
No, I don't know if he was trying to do that, Gary, but he hit the inside corner. I think 3-2. You can see the target pretty much in the middle of the plate. And he throws it right on the corner.
Orioles do not have a complete game this season. They may not get one here. Gibbons may get in. We'll see. Double play ground ball right here would help the cause to go for one. Pitch will be taken up high. Coco Crisp returning with a couple of singles. A run scored. RBI by Ike Davis in the 4th inning is the only run Oakland has up on the board. 2 for 3 for Crisp. I knew there was something about basketball when it came to Tyler Wilson, and it's his wife. Chelsea played basketball at the University of Virginia and holds the record for the most games played in UVA history for men or women. She scored over 1,000 points and had over 500 rebounds in her college career. Tyler's wife. Adam Jones comes over. He'll make the catch, runner halfway. And Crisp is retired, 2 down. As promised earlier in the game, we selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photo to O's Couch Cam. You might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. I have a feeling that fan is not up to see that, but hopefully someone's recording it so that when the baby gets up in the morning, there it will be.
So Tyler Wilson most likely will go back to AAA Norfolk.
It's tough to come out and make a start when your replacement is already here. But
what would happen? I know Buck Showalter, Oriole manager, never ever likes to be short pitching wise, but so Chris Tillman's going to throw on Wednesday. They're going to off day in Anaheim on Thursday. They're going to see how he feels. Hopefully he'll pitch Friday.
Yep.
And if he's not able to,
McFarland will pitch. Down the line in left field. No, I just made that up. And, but he could. That's
with the off day though, they could move up. What Jimenez could.
Yep.
And he's going to throw Wednesday anyway.
Yep. And T.J. McFarland is the pitcher who's here.
But what if the ankle's not any good? Then when you get to Seattle, you may be minus our starter.
Yes.
And you'll have to choose somebody else.
Yes.
Could be T.J. McFarland because he's been starting down at AAA Norfolk.
Ball fouled off the other way again. Vogt got out of the 0-for with a double in the 6th inning, ending the 0 for 28. Runner on. Sogard with a leadoff single.
I guess the other side is, okay, so he pitched so well, you don't even need the bullpen. I mean, you were short 1 tonight.
Yes.
And
there he is.
He's going to pitch 8 innings. Probably, if he really had to, at 98, could probably go out and try to pitch tonight. No reason for that.
We'll see if he
it's
can
nice
get
to have
the
options, isn't
yeah.
it? I mean, unless you're a minor league player, and then they keep sending you back and forth.
And you want to run out of options.
Yeah.
That one is a foul ball. That'll bring Sogard back to first base. So Tyler Wilson at 99. Pitch is thrown. Gibbons going to continue to stay up, so it would appear as though he will pitch only 8 innings in the ball game. But if that happens, what an 8 innings. 0-2 count, 2 away. Hit hard, fair ball, went right over the bag. Into the bullpen and into the corner. Barrow will chase it down, making the turn. Sogard will come around to score and stopping at second base with a double. Stephen Vogt who gets the RBI and makes it a 9-2 game.
Yeah, so he's pleased. An 0 for 28, couple of doubles. Want a blast to look like it may get out of here, and then just a vicious liner. Looked like maybe it's a changeup, but it stays up. And watch him turn on this. If you're ever going to give up a double with a man on first, you want to do it with a 9-1 lead, and that'll get Buck Showalter with Michael Gibbons up and certainly ready to come in.
What a great job. Tyler Wilson coming up for an emergency start. A tremendous 7 2/3 innings. Couple of runs on 6 hits. He's responsible for the man on, but he got it done.
So Tyler Wilson, as Gary Thorne told you, again comes in, gets a chance because of the Tillman ankle injury. And then the defense plays well. He pitches well, pitches to contact. And they make all the plays. And meanwhile, they're getting 9 runs on the play. Great curveball right there. So Michael Gibbons comes on. Came up beginning of last week. Got his first major league win against the Tigers. Hard throwing righty, fastball slider pitcher out of AA Bowie.
Runner on at second base for him. There are 2 down. Butler's had an 0 for 3 for Gibbons.
So again, not a lot of action, obviously. 2 2/3 innings. He's thrown some strikes. Again, 2-pitch pitcher. We've seen him 93 to 94 or 5.
Runner on second base, then a swing and a miss as he reared back to 93. on that one and got it by him in a great location. Orioles not trying to hold that runner at second base. And step off. Tampa Bay beat the White Sox 5-4 in their ball game today. Toronto, of course, had the win earlier today in the American League East. That ball down the line, and that will end up in the seats and foul. For Tyler Wilson, looking for the W.
A lot of fastballs, and again, the early lead allows you to do that. Breaking ball, not so much, but as the game progressed, he and Caleb Joseph integrated it into his pitching repertoire. That's where he got some of the strikeouts.
Pitch on the way by Gibbons, and that's going to miss low and away.
And Billy Butler didn't even flinch.
Runner off second, delivered to Butler, and that came back the other way, but again too far. So Butler with a 3-ball 2-strike count. Gibbons wants to end this right here. Base runner, the responsibility of Tyler Wilson. Void of second base, and he got him. So Gibbons will get the strikeout, a run in, couple of hits, no errors, and 1 left on base. To the 9th inning we go. A 9-2 Orioles lead. Is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Gary Thorne and Jim Palmer. Evenings settling in. Tyler Wilson waiting to see if he gets victory number 2 in his major league career.
So Scribner comes on out of the picked up on waivers about 3 years ago, up and down the last 3 years. Fastball, curveball, cutter, changeup pitcher. Tops out at 91. And again, he'll come in. Gives up some home runs. And he's done that in 11 home runs in 48 1/3 innings. But more strikeouts than innings pitched. And then the batting average relatively close. And yet, inherited runners, not where you'd like. 10 of them have scored. So he'll come in and get some work here. Try to get 3 outs in the 9th.
Scribner was one of the possibilities of being optioned, but if they had done that, they would have had a chance to lose him. He would have become available. He picked up on waivers. So Dan Otero, who was sent out, did have an option left. He was one of the players involved going down today with the changes made in their roster. So the Orioles batted in the 9th inning. Chris Davis, the home run in the 1st inning. He's 1 for 4. 3 RBIs off that long ball that started the fine offensive night for the Orioles. They are 9-14-0, and the A's are 2-6-1.
So he leads the majors in first batter RBIs, 13 of them, 419 highest batting average, and then also the first batter home run. And that's why 19 inherited runners, 10 of them scored. But that's not the case here unless Chris Davis hits his second home run of the night.
Pitch on the way to Chris, and the fastball is going to be taken inside. Davis looking to get on, pick up another hit here. Continue his real good offensive numbers. Set up outside for both the catcher. Pitch came inside and gets fouled back at 91. 3-ball, 2-strike count on Chris Davis. Right back here tomorrow night with game 2. As the Orioles look to get some runs against this Oakland team. Do it again early, and that's there, and he knew it. Scribner starts it with a strikeout.
Yeah, good pitch, and he's got to make good pitches. Again, 91. Not that it's not real good velocity, but it's not what you normally see. Again, well located outside corner.
Now Waiter's trying to join the hit parade. He's had an 0 for 4. The only Orioles starter who's not picked up a base hit in the ball game. Waiters will foul that one back. For Scribner, the lefty's 218, right-handers 275. Those home runs Jim were talking about, though, have been split up pretty evenly. 6 left, 5 righties. That one he had to reach for. Only 73 in the off-speed delivery, fouled off for a 2-strike count on Matt. Leader's last chance in all likelihood to extend his 6-game hit streak. As Tyler Wilson awaits 3 more outs on the other side. And after one upstairs, fouls it back. This will be the Orioles' 8th win in their last 10 games. Off to a good start here in the month of August.
Yeah, you really can't do much about being 10 games under 500 on the road. I mean, as far as reversing that, but what you can reverse over the last 2 months, it's just starting to play better, and they certainly have been that tonight.
Chris Davis is bad, obviously. If he indeed, in one of his hot streaks, he's such an enormous help to the Oriole offense. That big power bat. I mean, he's having a great year. He's got a chance to be the home run and the RBI leader. It'll be foul back again. Weeder's not going to give up the at bat. Manny Machado and Parra.
Yeah.
Learning about your new team from one of its leaders. Pitch on the way. That one towards second base. Sogard on the backhand running throw. 2 down, top of the 9th. Pretty relaxed group, and why not?
Yeah.
You got a 9-2 lead, and you've really just dominated this ball game.
Well, everybody talking baseball, yeah. Well, this is not a, after losing 6-1, a hang your head type of team.
Nope.
You know, they're used to winning now that Buck Showalter's here. Winning ball club since 2012.
Orioles will be 5.5 behind the Yankees with a win here. The Yankees idle today. Toronto also won. They're 5.5 back. Tampa Bay got a win. They're 7.5 behind.
Now you look at Evan Schreiber and you look at it at the repertoire and you're going, okay, his 28th round draft choice. He has never ever started a game, minor leagues or the big league.
And a swing and a miss. Tag will be put on. 1, 2, 3 innings. Schreiber gets a couple of strikeouts. Orioles looking to wrap it up. They are 3 outs away from their 54th win of the year. There's the pitcher on the left who was supposed to start, Chris Tillman, and the pitcher on the right, Tyler Wilson, who did start, and is going to get the win.
And he's Chris Tillman saying, "You got all my runs. I got all my 9 runs."
Michael Gibbons will stay on. He got the final out in the 8th inning. Ike Davis will lead it off in the bottom of the 9th inning. A base hit and an RBI came in the 4th inning, and then the double by Stephen Vogt in the 8th inning. The second run for Oakland. Gibbons' delivery. It'll be outside for a ball. Orioles with a big offensive attack here tonight, and they maintained it throughout the ball game. They were set down in order only twice. Gibbons, 1 ball, 1 strike count.
He made quite a pitch to strike out Billy Butler. 3-2 breaking ball, perfectly thrown outside corner.
That'll miss a little bit down.
Diaz almost been a pretty nice. He's done a very consistent job behind the plate tonight. Looks like he's fair to both hitters and pitchers.
Which is exactly his history.
Yeah. Oh, good changeup. Now
off-speed pitch.
We haven't seen that very much, and I'll tell you what, that's a nice little third pitch. Good arm speed. All of a sudden, everybody on their bench going, "Wait a minute, didn't know that pitch."
Thought we were hitting just fastballs here.
Yeah, maybe occasional slider.
2-2 delivery will be outside. So Davis works the count, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Laurie, full, due up. The A's here in the bottom of the 9th inning, and got him to go after it with a weak cut.
Yeah, 95, good movement, good location, the trifecta, and then good velocity at 95.
Now batting third baseman.
Yeah, the one thing about Michael Gibbons, I had heard so much about him coming up, met him in spring training, but he's got a very simple windup, got the little turn, and then the ability to throw the ball over the plate.
As he does there, with some mustard seed on it in 95. 0 for 2 and a walk in the game for the Oakland third baseman. Oakland's going to drop to 47 and 60. Way down the line in right field, Parra. 2 down.
Wasn't it refreshing to have a young pitcher come up, throw strikes, quality strikes, 9-2, no messing around. In fact, 2 of them today.
That'll get your job, won't it?
Yeah, Gibbons right out of Double-A Bowie, and Tyler Wilson. Going to be his first win as a starter. I think they learned a lot about him when he came in for Mike Wright up in Toronto, and gave up 1 run in 5 innings against the Blue Jays.
Old will take the pitch for a strike. Tyler Wilson going to be 2-1 with 1 more out. Then Fold takes the pitch away. He's 0 for 3 in the ballgame. Chavez will drop to 5 and 11, and his woes in the second half. Jesse Chavez, the starter for Oakland, continue. One and 2. Gibbons a little bit outside, a little bit low, but a good pitch where he wanted to go with it. 2 ball, 2 strike count. And that's there, and that's the game. So the strikeout recorded, full down. Gibbons, an inning and a third, ended up with 3 strikeouts. You can give anything up. And the Orioles come away with a 9-2 win.
Yeah, they start that 9-game road trip exactly the way you wanted to do it. A lot of run, good pitching, consistently good defense, as always. And then Tyler Wilson, outstanding performance.
Orioles left 6 on base in the ball game. 5 left on by Oakland. Got this game really dominated by the Orioles with a 14-hit attack.